Entering the Mayo experience.
Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings. It's been a while, so everyone out there, smash the like button to the video, say something in the comment section, subscribe to Mayo Media Network, and hit the description. You will find the exclusive link to all of the CUST Corners.
CUST Corner, it's CUST Corner. CUST Corner, it's CUST Corner. He's got the hottest takes with the highest stakes. He should be president of the United States, but it's CUST Corner, it's CUST Corner. CUST Corner, hee 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 hee.
I don't know anybody who calls it that other than you.
I don't know. When I search CUST Corner on Google, the SEO seems to recognize it.
That's because you have control of the pen.
So that's my doing then. It's not the name
Yes.
of the show. That's what when people search it. I mean, you can type in whatever you want to call it. Nothing's going to come up.
Believe me, if I did a poll as to what the name of the show was, I think I would win.
I mean, you should do that right now. And we'll check in with the results a bit later on. Geoff Fienberg is also here. What's going on, Geoff?
Summer's blur. It's August, Pat. It's August. So I let the pure adrenaline flow now. I don't even try to contain it. And I don't know. I'll fire it up.
All right. Well, Tim, this is your corner because you are CUST. So that means the floor is yours. You've been stockpiling topics for about 4 months now. So very curious what you have in store for us.
So the first thing I wanted to bring up is something that's been annoying me, only because I used to enjoy this part of internet life, and now it's gone, is why don't videos go viral on YouTube anymore? I remember the evolution of dance, and I remember all the various awesome videos that used to go viral on YouTube, and they're just gone now. Is this sort of like the way Much Music won't show music videos anymore because they've all been taken over on the TikTok and the IG and all that? I thought YouTube videos going viral was a cool and interesting part of online culture, and now they're just gone. They're completely gone. And I'm just curious as to whether this is true, and if it is, what can be done to reverse it? Because I think YouTube videos trending and being viral are fantastic.
Well, it's just because you're not using any of the media platforms where videos are going viral right now. You're not on Instagram, you're not on TikTok, and that's mainly where you're going to see this stuff.
But YouTube's so much bigger than those things.
Tim, I would suggest that YouTube is cultivating them historically. All the ones that you're missing, I think, end up on YouTube. But where they're starting out at this point is obviously, TikTok or Twitter or Instagram. But I think if something actually goes viral, you can search for it on YouTube. Someone will have posted that video on YouTube. So if anything, YouTube will be like the overall historical library of library
Yes.
of all of this. But yes, while your first interaction with them are on the platforms that you don't use, clearly. Nor do I guess.
Well, and this is nothing new either. When the first viral videos first started coming up, even though YouTube was in its infancy, E-Bombs World would have
it was Funny or Die, right?
Yeah, would have all the viral videos that you wanted. Then they got put onto YouTube because that was the biggest platform for doing it. And the biggest thing now is that most people shoot this from their phone. So having the editors on Instagram or TikTok, and you can just record everything from your phone, do everything from your phone. It's just much easier to upload it to those apps in the first place anyway. Jeff's right. It'll all eventually end up on YouTube as the historical record of a lot of this stuff because YouTube will stick around, and who knows with, in 10 years time, what apps are going to be. Remember when Snapchat was the biggest app in the world? And
yeah, or
there was one that went away, and it was just 7-second
Vine.
videos.
It was Vine.
But
there were 7-second videos.
There was this one guy, me and my buddies always loved.
See, and so
just gone. They're gone. And even your own personal Vine, some of
the
them
original
you can't
source
even get.
material isn't there anymore. And this is my point, that YouTube was a great place for it. Because
it
not
wasn't
only
the source, though. Pat just told you YouTube wasn't the source material.
But it had been for the most viral videos prior to 2015. YouTube was the source for it all.
Yeah, but but you have to remember that YouTube was the only place where people could find this stuff for the longest
It's
time.
still kind of true now.
It's not. Well, it's very clearly not
people don't
true.
YouTube is probably the most used social media platform in the world.
Well, it's not a social media platform for one
It
thing.
sort of is.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's absolutely not. It's basically a search engine, is what it is.
Okay, well, it's bigger than any of these other products you mentioned.
Yes, but it's easier to share your content because the other ones are social media platforms and people are more actively on there. People go to YouTube for a very specific purpose. They're not on Instagram necessarily for a specific purpose. They just open Instagram.
I just open YouTube.
You what?
I just open YouTube and just see what videos are recommended, and then just like sort of like doing like a wormhole dive on Wikipedia. I'll just like watch YouTube vids for like an hour and just see whatever videos come up and are recommended, like a cool biography of somebody results in like some clip of the Sopranos or something I watch, and next thing you know, an hour and a half is gone and you've just watched random YouTube clips. That happens to me, and it happens to a lot of people.
Sure.
That is a very common experience.
I would tend to agree with you on that, but there is something very specific about what you just said and why there are very few viral videos going up to YouTube right now. What you just said, that you go on there, then you go on Wikipedia, and then you go like to like find some topic that you like and do research on it, then you watch videos about it. I would say that seems like a real old person thing to do, Tim.
Well, you say that. I was watching stuff about the funeral of Queen Victoria this weekend. That's like, that actually is a very old person thing to be fascinated by, or by the final meal that they ate on the Titanic, all the fancy courses that they were having.
Oh my
and I was like looking up videos on how to cook like peaches and chartreuse jelly and stuff like that.
All right, so it all boils down to who is making the viral videos. Is it people?
Yes, exactly.
Is it people
Who's
who are?
making them?
Is it people who are 45 years old, 50 years old, or like 95 years old like you, or is it like 17-year-olds and 20-year-olds who are just using different sites?
But they're also making very, very short videos. Like all the best, except for I like turtles. All the best viral videos are like 2, 3, 4 minutes long.
Yeah, but okay. So for example, I Like Turtles. The famous clip is something from a news broadcast that was just posted on YouTube. Now it's just posted in other places.
Yeah, I know, but I think it's sort like it, but it made splash on YouTube, and
Because that was the only place you could watch it.
it's still great. But anyway, my point was that most of these videos are 3, 4, 5 minutes long. And that's not really possible in the era of the TikTok and stuff like that.
Yeah, because most people don't have the attention span to watch a 3-minute video anymore. Those days are
Well,
gone, Tim.
I don't think so. I mean, 3-minute videos.
Okay,
to me
for you, it's not. For most people, it is. Like, for example,
maybe
when
people
I
that are
release
people like-
I release a Twitter video, you have 2 minutes and 20 seconds, or I can apply to have like the really long one. But if I release a clip from this show that's 2 minutes and 20 seconds long, unless it's you saying the most insane thing for 90 straight seconds, the one that's going to be watched the most is like one that's 20 seconds long.
But yet the podcasts that are 2.5 hours long do just as well as the podcasts that are 30 minutes long. So obviously people do it. It's not like people are like bereft of attention spans.
Yeah, but would you say, like, because you're saying that you're specifically saying the Pat Mayo Experience podcast, one that's 3 hours long, does sometimes even better than one that's like 30 minutes long, right? Is what you're saying?
I think I would contend that, yes.
Yes, and you would be right based on the numbers that go along with that, but my show isn't fucking viral. It's not getting millions and millions and millions of views and downloads. It's a very specific thing that people are looking at. If I was getting millions and millions of downloads, I'd already be retired.
I think, though, my point is correct in general, that the best viral videos should be longer than 90 seconds.
How do you...
Your favorite viral video Pat just mentioned was from like a news.
That's not my favorite viral video, but I really enjoy that viral video.
Yeah, no, I get it too. I love all those. The Australian kid, the Bub Rub. I love viral from a news.
The Australian kid with the famous glasses is fantastic.
Yeah, but again, those aren't native to YouTube. Those are fucking news broadcasts.
But that would never come up on TikTok.
Yes,
That
it would.
never-
It would come up. It would come up on Instagram and Facebook is where it would come up.
I'm not so sure that that's true.
Because
What
you're
are
not
you talking about.
you're
Twitter
not-
posts like funny, like a clip from like someone's local newscast that's funny all the time.
But where are they going to upload them?
Well,
You-
usually they'll just like make it where they'll give you the hit, like the 90-second
Anyway,
hit.
my deep concern is this is going to become, like I said, like Much Music, which no longer does the thing it's supposed to do, which is to show me music videos. I'm afraid that viral videos will like disappear into the ether because
Viral videos haven't disappeared. You're just not on the apps where they exist.
if I don't see them, it's as if they don't exist.
Viral
I-
videos will never disappear. Like, to think like me and my friends like always joke how much we wish we had some of the technology when we were mucking around in high school and like.
No, you don't. You absolutely are. You stand to benefit, myself as well, that we did not have those things at our disposal when we were in high school. Because that would be bad. I would not have this career. It would not be good for me.
I guess more for not to so much go viral, I guess in that sense. But there's never going to, my point being is there's never going to be a time, Tim, where like, you know, teenagers and young and, you know, college kids aren't going to want to make funny videos. Like, I think that's the most evergreen thing that's going to be happening on the internet.
Well, maybe I sure hope that you're right, but I'm suspicious that that it's going to sort of ebb away.
But
So,
it hasn't in the slightest. More people are actually seeing these videos now than ever before because it's easier to share them.
Well, I can't see them.
Well, okay, is that whose fault is that? Is that their fault or your fucking fault?
Their fault.
Why?
I'm on the popular mediums. I'm on Twitter. I'm on YouTube. I'm on the Facebook. I'm on the big ones. If I'm not encountering them, it's as if they're not viral at that point. They're cult classics.
Well, Twitter is not even close to the most popular social media.
No, I agree. It's definitely the third of those three. But I'm on YouTube and Facebook, which are bigger than any of these other things.
But YouTube isn't a social platform for one thing. It's not. Whatever you fucking consider it as, because you're insane, doesn't make it so.
Okay. Well, anyway, that's my position on that.
So why don't you just get TikTok, and then you can watch viral videos all you want?
I don't want to get TikTok.
He doesn't want to support China, Pat.
I don't want to support the CCP. Yeah, exactly.
All right, then why don't you get on Instagram and you can watch all the reels you want?
I mean, I'm not opposed to Instagram. I'm just too lazy to open an Instagram account / don't really know how to work.
They would literally just connect it through your. Never mind.
Anyway, I'm not opposed to Instagram. I just don't have it.
I'm looking at it right now. Facebook is the largest. It's bigger than YouTube. WhatsApp, which you are on,
I believe it.
as a messaging network, is third. Instagram, Facebook Messenger, WeChat, TikTok, QQ, Telegram, Snapchat. Twitter is not even. Twitter's behind Reddit. I mean, Reddit's also a place where you're going to find all this stuff. Twitter, in terms of social media, Tim, the one that you seem to think is like really huge, is like 14th.
Well, I just said I thought it was the third of the three I mentioned.
Yeah, Tim, the videos you're looking for aren't showing up when you're hanging out on 4chan.
Or 8chan.
I've never been on those sites. I've heard of them. I only spend time on like 6 or 7 subreddits that I'm interested in, like Coca-Cola and the Jets and the Dolphins and like stuff like that.
Well, you're probably
And
not
I'm going behind enemy lines.
I mean, you're not going to
Like
find
I spent a lot of time on the Toronto Maple Leafs subreddit after they lost Game 7 to the Canadians.
You're so.
By the way, I'm winning that poll right now. 77 for what you call it, 23% what I call it. That's a victory in my books. So right now, I'm definitely winning that poll.
Oh, so you're not winning, but you are winning, is what you're saying.
23% is that's like a Reagan-style landslide as far as I'm concerned.
Let's see here. We'll check back. Yeah, you're losing 77 to 23%.
Yeah, that's the landslide for me.
All right, so we'll check back in at the end of the show to see how this goes. But I'm dubious. What do you think this finishes at? So what's considered a win for you in this poll?
If I cracked 15%, I'm a winner.
That's so sad. Living your truth and just being oblivious to the world around you. That is the Tim Andercust mantra. I have some.
I'll list you a couple of the categories I have, so you can take.
Well, no, I have one for you. How about this?
Okay,
Geoff. This came up recently because now I moved back, so I'm around Tim more often. So I'm just ingesting a lot of these like weird things that he says, and then I'm writing it down. Did you know that Tim has not only seen ghosts, but his family home is haunted?
Okay. I feel like he's referenced the potential spookiness of his house, but I wasn't aware that he'd actually claimed to have seen something.
Not my house; it's our country house, first and foremost. Which used to be my great-great-grandfather's house, who was the 7th son of a 7th son. And so that apparently that has like he used to be able to heal people apparently by like touching them. I
Like,
don't know.
oh,
I also,
you say your great grandfather was powder?
my great grandfather,
Okay.
who I obviously did not know. I believe he passed away in the turn of the last century. Sorry, I believe. So the house is like 150, 160, 170,
Wow.
very, very old, in a sort of a rural part of Nova Scotia. And I have been there before. And it's a house that had a ton of people who used to live in it. When people passed away in those days, in the parlor, they would lay people out in the parlor. And so people would visit the deceased and their family in the parlor. So anyway, I have been there in the past where like I've dropped off my bag in my room and we leave immediately. And I come home or back to the house and all my clothes have been thrown out of my suitcase. And there's no explanation for it. I've been sleeping in my bed there and been woken up by a terribly large, bright white light outside. And there are no streetlights where I am. I've heard like laughter and the like almost like shadows, like Peter Pan style, running on the walls. I've seen these things. I can't explain them. They're paranormal in some way. I believe that there are friendly ghosts living, like mischievous and friendly ghosts living in and around that country house. And I'm not the only one who's experienced it. Yes, I do believe that I do believe that ghosts exist, and I do believe I've encountered them.
So you have not attributed any of this to the fact that your family just might be fucking with you?
How would they make that massive, big, bright white light outside? Why would they? First, no one's going to screw with a 7 or 8 year old kid.
Oh, come on. I've met your dad. He'd definitely do that.
Not till I was a little older, I don't think. There was just certain things you see that you can't explain. And you know what? I bet you a lot of people listening will have different experiences, but almost all of us have encountered things in our lives that we just can't explain how they happen. That I believe that there is a supernatural, and I do believe that there are ghosts and there are angels and things happen, and that's okay. That's a part of the world in which we inhabit.
Geoff, do you have
I'm not really ready to debate Tim too much on this.
Do you see ghosts as well?
Like that,
No, I've never seen ghosts, but
you've never experienced something that you thought had to have been supernatural.
Yeah, when I was like 9 at sleepover camp and I was intentionally being scared, like to buy into the myth of like that the camp has created for like some like spooky part of it. But I don't know. Those house, you said house is like over 150 years old?
Yeah, it's a very old house.
I would just lie in that thing assuming something's around me.
Well, you kind of hit on the key thing here, Geoff, is that this seems to happen to like kids, like little kids, because their brains are not fully developed yet. They don't know what they're seeing. And then as time passes, you misremember what actually happened. And then you just grow the myth inside your head. That's all that's happening.
I would say like I was 12 the last time I saw this, like that.
So it happens all the time to you.
It happened a few times when I was younger. It's been a while, but
dude,
listen, I know. I mean, I believe. You're asking me, what do I want to believe? The truth or my lying eyes? Well, I believe what I saw.
Did they talk to you?
No.
Do you constantly hear voices?
Like literally, maybe your dad just went out to the car with a flashlight and like accidentally turned the other way and it went in your window. Like
I don't know. I mean, I'm also somebody who believed that Santa Claus existed till he was like 12 years old.
No,
oh my God.
Maybe I'm just a mark. I don't know.
Maybe?
Yeah, there's no maybe
12?
with that. 12.
How old were you until you realized wrestling was fake?
20? Around the same age.
Like today? Today is the day he found that out?
It's still real to me.
Oh boy, Tim! I actually I'm cruising through the most popular social media platform in the world, Twitter, right now, according to you, and I just saw that a digital horsey. You love horsies. One just sold for $200,000.
That's crazy. Does it dance like Rory's favorite Olympic sport?
No, it races. It sold for 77 Ethereum.
I don't know what that means.
I mean, how much Ethereum do you have in your digital wallet these days?
No, I don't have a digital wallet. I have real wallets with my cards in them and cash in them. That's what I have. I don't have the digital wallets and the blockchains. That's not me.
Maybe you should.
Okay.
I mean, you didn't have cash to tip our caddies when we were at Cabot, so you don't carry cash. Don't lie.
We didn't stop at a place where there was an ATM that I could go withdraw money, and so I just didn't have cash.
But you're talking like you have cash all the time on you in your
I
wallet.
Usually do. We went out to dinner a few weeks ago, and I paid in cash, and you chastised me.
Yeah, it was really weird to pay in cash.
That is actually really like I get like having a bit, but be able to pay for like a
Not a bit. I feel comfortable carrying cash usually. I'd say 9 times in 10 I have some sort of cash on me. My car, the little drawer in my car is full of change.
It's actually so weird. Like handing a waiter like $160 in like 20s right now. Actually, it does seem so foreign.
It's really weird too, especially when you can just like every time I go out, especially when I'm with Tim, I just make an effort to do Apple Pay just to freak Tim out, and he still
it terrifies me.
He can't quite grasp the concept of what's going on, and
don't.
Then you don't even have to carry a wallet; you just bring your phone, which you always have on you anyway.
Yeah, the Apple Pay scares me. I don't understand how it works. I'm afraid of being hacked. I just don't. I can't.
Why are you afraid of being hacked exactly?
Yeah, I'm just afraid of being hacked. I don't want that to happen. And I feel like the more opportunities you have to intermingle your money and your internet online, the more opportunities for that type of corruption to happen.
Now, do you have any facts that support this?
No, I don't. This is just logic, common sense, and intuition. And that may not be correct, but that's sort of what I'm going with.
I mean, I feel like it would really improve your quality of life. Then you just wouldn't have to carry a whole bunch of stuff with you everywhere.
And I think Tim probably underestimates the amount of fraud protection that actually does exist, and to the lengths that these companies, it's not hard to prove that you didn't buy something in Sri Lanka, Tim, like they're very, in my one experience, like they were beyond helpful and like immediately like reimbursed me.
So I believe that, and I don't doubt that, but that's still an aggravation I don't need in my life.
Well, I had one at Christmas time a few years ago that my credit card was compromised because I went on and looked, and they called me immediately. They asked me if I was buying, what was it? I was buying Starbucks in Hong Kong. I was like, I don't think so. I don't think that was me. That might be tough on my part. They were like, all right, we'll kill
Skinner for those organs at the airport. Like, what?
Then they immediately reimbursed me and just canceled the card. It was super easy. Then they immediately sent me out a new one.
That does sound easy, but that's still a layer of stress and aggravation that I can circumvent.
Yeah, but the move is that, I mean, Geoff, how many credit cards do you have?
I have like 3 and I share like 2 of them with my wife.
Yeah, so I have one that I share with my wife, and then I have like another one which I use primarily for gambling purposes, because you know how we always talk about like credit card points, Geoff? The move is like, I mean, no one withdraws and deposits more than me on gambling sites with my credit card.
Yeah, no, there's a couple. There's one in particular. Not all of them want to take credit cards, so I, more and get my money in through other ways. But as gambling has becoming more like, they don't treat, like when trying to put money in a lot of gambling sites, like the banks treat it like you are committing like there's like a block on them, right?
In some places, the more legal that sports betting gets and online casinos get, then the more they're going to take your credit cards. Yeah. I'm sure that the credit card processing fee from the sites, like as long as you're depositing enough, I don't think that they care. But if you just withdraw and then put your money back in, you get them points, Geoff. That's the move.
Oh yeah, the withdraw and then put it back. I didn't even think about that part of the game.
That's the entire game right there. So even when you lose, you still win.
Okay.
So you can do that. So I have the 2 that I like my 2 primary cards, but I do have a third, which I use once a year, once every 6 months to keep active with a setup purchase that I have in case like my cards become compromised, then I can just use that one, but it always just stays Like it's in my house. I have it in. Well, I don't carry a wallet, but it's in my house. If I needed to bring it out with me, I could. It's in my Apple Pay as well, but I just never use it. So if something like this happens to him, where one of your cards gets compromised, you're not without a credit card at that point.
No, I think all of what you said is very logical. It's just I've been trying to have as few points of contact as with the internet and my money as possible. We're still having the basic ones you need to have, but trying to reduce those points of contact. Just because I don't want to go through the annoyance and the aggravation dealing with that. That's all.
And obviously, like most of those gamblers, Pat, I have everything, Insta debit, whatever it took to have to get something into an account in the dark days of gambling I have, and I don't think PayPal's in the gambling space, but I'm obsessed with PayPal.
No, I think PayPal is in the gambling space right now. Like you can use on like different DFS sites, and even like not necessarily the ones that we use in Canada, but I think a lot in the US do accept PayPal.
So
because you can link your credit card and bank account to PayPal and just pay that way.
Yeah, it sounds like way too much for Tim, but it's really the most convenient and greatest thing going.
Yeah, well, it gets it in and out easy. Then you can get any currency you want at the same time too. But I mean, this is how a lot of people became like Bitcoin millionaires. They were people who were betting on these like real sketch offshore websites, and the only thing that they would take, like the only way that they could actually get money into it, like 4 years ago, was buy Bitcoin, gamble on the site, get paid out in Bitcoin. So they just had all this Bitcoin when it was worth like nothing, and then all of a sudden overnight it's worth like $60,000, and they're just like, oh, this is great. That could have been you.
I've never paid any. I'll admit I've never bought anything in Bitcoin. If I have Bitcoin, I don't like that whole like I have to pay you in Bitcoin to access your service. That's too much for me.
Yeah, well, those were like pretty offshore sites were the ones.
No, there's a couple books that still like operate that way, and sometimes they have juicy lines. And I got a buddy who likes that site, so. Yeah, you're like a Bitcoin trader / sports bettor when using certain books.
All right, Tim, what's your next topic here?
So I have a couple, and you tell me which ones you guys are interested in. I am furious at Pringles for changing the logo. I despise and don't understand why people would ever order a waffle cone with their ice cream when regular cones are so much better. I wanted to talk about picture-in-picture and why it needs to make a big comeback, and also movie novelizations and why we couldn't do that with other things. What would you like to talk about?
I mean, I feel like we can.
You are so wrong.
I feel like we could clear up the waffle cone one pretty easily. It's that waffle cones are far superior to regular cones, and that's why people like them.
First, no, they're not.
Yes.
Secondly, are you going to eat ice cream or are you going to eat a cone? I'm going to eat the ice cream. What is wrong with people that they need to get the waffle cone with the dipped chocolate and the M&Ms or the peanuts, and they're upstaging the ice cream? So you really don't like the ice. You might as well just get plain vanilla frozen yogurt if you're going to eat those cones, because you're not really eating it for the ice cream. Okay. It's like getting a really, really nice piece of beef and covering it with ketchup. It's like
you get a really nice piece of beef and cover it in fucking A1 sauce.
No, not a filet mignon. I wouldn't. Not a Chateaubriand. No, I wouldn't do that with that kind of stuff. That's essentially what you're doing. When you
that is absolutely not the case. All you're doing is taking the same thing and putting it in something that's also delicious. That way, you get 2 times the deliciousness.
So now the ice cream is no longer the star of the show.
Who cares? Also, the big. Hold on. Yes, everything should be delicious, especially if I'm going to eat ice cream. I want everything to be. I don't want to eat a piece of fucking styrofoam with my ice cream. I feel like that downgrades the quality of the ice cream. It's fucking disgusting. Shut up. Next thing, the waffle cone, much better integrity and doesn't get super soggy and actually supports your ice cream a whole lot better.
That's not true.
Tim, you are so off base here. I will give you the credence of one thing. You do not need those extra fancy dipped waffle cones because those are like the least fresh. Those probably been there like all weekend. But the fresh waffle cone, and to Pat's point, the integrity. It also works with like the waffle cone entitles you to more ice cream. So it's like more ice cream, more delicious cone. You are so like off base here.
No, I'm 100% right. You obviously don't like the ice cream that much. If you have to,
No, I love them both. And then you put a piece of that waffle cone, like, oh my God, wrong.
So
wrong. It's a
that's like eating
delicious.
chocolate and
No,
drinking-
it's a
and drinking
delicious.
chocolate.
It's a delicious partner. It's
too
a
much.
partner.
It's too
It's
much.
a pairing. I love
like-
ice cream, but it can be paired with a delicious cookie cracker cone.
No, then you're distracting. If I want a big scoop of Tiger Tail ice cream,
Tiger,
What
you
I
already
want-
fucking idiot. You
whatever.
just ate black licorice, and you're
Whatever-
telling me that I can't have the cone I want?
What kind of? Okay, Jeff. What's your favorite kind of ice cream? If I could give you one scoop of ice cream before the electric chair, what would it be?
Cookie dough.
Probably like just a delicious, like world-class chocolate, like a
Hey,
like
don't-
a chocolate. Honestly, even as simple as like a chocolate vanilla swirl would work for me, but it's still going to be in a
So then,
waffle
if you really
cone.
want to appreciate the chocolate and vanilla swirl, then you get it with just a plain cone that isn't trying to overpower or overshadow or take away from the ice cream. Your palate is being torn in so many different directions because you're also eating this other thing to go with
Wait a minute,
the ice cream.
hold on. How
No,
are you?
what?
How
You
are
like
how are you?
anything. You just
how
ate
are you
black
eating?
licorice as your treat,
It's-
and then you polish it off. You cleanse your palate with a styrofoam cracker
It's
from
the same as
church.
putting a big old scoop of ice cream on top of a piece of pie. I don't like it because it takes away from the pie.
That's crazy. Also, Jeff is exactly right. It tastes like the fucking communion wafers at church. It's fucking disgusting.
I don't think so. I think it's fine. And because it's soft, it absorbs some of the melted ice cream into it. So you get that ice cream flavor into that cone. So that adds to the flavor. So that isn't true. It's like a piece of bread to finish your soup broth.
Oh.
You wouldn't
Ice
use
cream?
a fancy piece of challah or something with your soup. You use like a piece of hard bread around. Like it's common sense. It's because you've got a bunch of hipster millennials who can only eat yummy things and think that the best things have to be paired with other best things and can't just have a normal cone. No, they have to have a fancy waffle cone. I'm sorry, you don't need it. They're needlessly pricey. They're not that good, and they detract from the ice cream. You want ice cream? Have some ice cream. You don't need the ice cream and the fancy hipster gourmet artisanal waffle cone. I'm sorry.
I don't think that anyone's having an artisanal waffle cone. They're just standard fucking cones that come with ice cream. Also, how are you eating ice cream that you're mixing the two together that often?
What do you mean mixing the two together that
You
often?
put the scoop of ice cream in, probably double scoop, or I mean for you, like quadruple scooped. Like it's not like you're taking you have the cone like this, and then you have like 4 scoops of ice cream or 3 scoops of ice cream. It's not like your first lick is a bite of the cone and the fucking ice cream along with it. You eat the ice cream down till you get to the cone, then you have a delicious cone with a little bit of ice cream left. It's perfect.
No,
Perfect.
It's
Perfect. Literally perfect.
They also don't hold the liquid as well because there's little gaps or holes in the waffle cone.
Well, how slow are you eating your ice cream?
And they drip. Oh, I don't rush. And they drip out the bottom. They're inefficient. They try to overpower and overshadow. Like I can't tell you how many
You're
people
literally
have gone to
talking
ice cream
about.
parlors and said, "Oh, I love it in there because the cones smell so nice." So you're already not talking about the ice cream. I'm sorry. You want ice cream, go get ice cream. You want waffles, go have waffles. I don't think they need to be mixed. I think it's a disservice to ice cream, which is a great dessert.
Also, your statement of having a very nice steak and putting ketchup all over it is not really what this is going with here. It would be like having a very nice steak and having some like risotto next to it. And then like if you want to get mushrooms in that risotto or for
Yeah,
whatever
or
reason you didn't like the Parmesan cheese. It's just a nice compliment to it. They mix very well and it enhances the entire thing.
It's like a steak with an amazing like garlic whipped mash. Like some bites will come together, some bites will be separate. All bites would be amazing. What's the matter with you?
Support the mixing of all these flavors. I think you should focus on the ice cream. Whatever ice cream flavor you really like, go with it and enjoy the ice cream because that's what you're having.
And let's rewind to say your flavor of choice is black licorice
And orange, yes. This is the same position as why I despise people who mix different flavors of slushies because I don't understand that. You want a slushie, have a blue slushie or a red
Tim,
one, or
what
whatever.
would you make if I told you like as a kid we would take like Honey Nut Cheerios and Frosted Flakes together and it would be magical? or
I
make
would
one of
be-
them Fruit Loops.
I
Who
would
cares?
be appalled, is what would happen.
You're wrong. You're
They're
wrong.
delicious on their own, but some things just don't go together.
Yeah,
Some things
okay,
go together,
hold on.
and some things don't go together.
Tim, have you ever done this?
Have I had waffle cones with ice cream? Of course I
No,
have.
have you
And they're not-
have you mixed cereals together?
No, I've never mixed.
Well, then how would you know? Because you're a big proponent of going to the Ponderosa, the world's lowest steakhouse, and
Well, I
walking
haven't
and
been to
walking up to
Ponderosa.
every pop flavor and making swamp water. And you said that's
No,
delicious.
I never did that. I never did. I hate swamp water. What are you talking about? That's what
you said that
did
you've
when
done
you
it.
were there. That's what you did when you were there. Of course, I've done it and tried it. It was terrible. That's how I know it was terrible.
Tim, you're lying.
No, of course I've tried it.
Listen
Every
to
kid's
listen to
tried
your
it, but it's
voice.
not good.
How up it goes. You're definitely lying.
Well, because I'm being accused of something.
You've
that
been
isn't
on the
true.
show and said how much you like it before.
No, I've tried it. I love the Ponderosa, but not for that reason. I did try it, but I didn't like it. That's why I'm a opponent of the flavored Diet Coke, which, by the way, I was 100% right about because they've gotten rid of pretty much all of them. Once again, check in Top Cat's corner and not your guys' corner.
Well,
They
kept all the good ones that people liked, like
only
acai
one that-
berry.
No, the only one I think they've kept is the feisty cherry. But like cherry Coke's been around for forever and ever. So
Well,
it's not
I was gonna buy you that vanilla, the diet vanilla one the other day, the DCX.
different. That's DCX, which in and of itself, I bet in a year or two, that'll fall by the wayside too.
That's the worst one, but that's gross. I think
no,
we tried
the energy drink that you guys tried and hated.
I don't know, Tim. This is really weird. It's delicious. Like it's just yummy.
I also like the plain cones. Like I said, they absorb some of the ice cream into them. They have a good structural.
Listen,
integrity.
I like you agree. Like it is yummy. The plain cone, like it's all kinds of ice cream. Like I made that thing with the communion wafer. Compared to the waffle cone, it's clearly inferior. But it's like I'll have a bad piece of pizza. Like I'll happily go to that ice cream truck, get a swirly vanilla chocolate cone on a classic cone you like, and I enjoy. I'm never complaining. But the fact that you think it can hold a candle here, you're out of your mind.
So you're not really going for the ice cream. You're going for the waffle and the ice cream together. I myself am going for the ice cream. So I guess that's what we differ.
Why don't you just have an ice cream in a bowl then?
You think you're so goddamn pretentious. Like you think you're into the ice cream more than us.
Yes, it's like having whiskey and putting ice in it versus not putting ice in it. I'm sorry.
How many times a year do you drink whiskey?
A few times a year, not a whole lot.
So like twice. You're a big whiskey aficionado, are you?
But when I drink it neat.
What about a waffle bowl?
No. You don't need the waffle. Why the waffle? We don't need the waffle.
Why don't you just say you don't
Instead
like
of
waffles?
a regular bowl that can't be eaten.
I don't mind waffles. Waffles are fine for breakfast or whatever.
You've never had fried chicken and waffles, clearly. Like that would.
I think I have tried that, but again, I wasn't a huge fan of it. I don't think.
Of course you weren't.
A lot of carbs.
Are you? Tim walked us through. He was doing keto and couldn't figure out why he wasn't losing weight, and then he told me what he was eating, and then it didn't occur to him that he can't just eat the worst possible things, although they have no carbs in them.
Well, I was under the impression that if it has no carbs, it's healthy for you, and I was proceeding in that fashion. Who cares how much butter you use? Butter has no carbs. Who cares how many eggs you're eating? Eggs have no carbs. Who cares how much oil you're using? Oil has no carbs.
Yeah, he didn't realize that like olive oil had an immense amount of calories in it, Jeff.
I thought olive oil was calorie free. My mind was blown that it wasn't.
So you could have like unlimited bacon.
I was having a lot of bacon and a lot of because I thought, why not? I remember being told it's all about carbs in and carbs out. And it doesn't matter what you eat as long as you are under 20 net carbs, your body burns it all off super fast. This is how I understood the process to be.
I feel like you did a minimal amount of research on this before you started your keto diet.
Evidently.
Have you been trying it again now and trying to restrict maybe not even restrict the calories, but not eat like globs of butter?
Yes. I realized that I shouldn't do that.
Is it working?
Although I thought that, I guess. So.
I think they're saying like eating those things is healthier than eating carbs, even if they're in theory not healthier. But like you can't eat them in mass quantities.
I thought it didn't matter. I thought the only game in town was carbohydrates. And if you cut those out, nothing else mattered.
which is not the case for anyone listening out there who's thinking about going on the keto diet. But to keep yourself in ketosis, you need to be below a certain carb count per day. But if you ingest more calories than everything else, you're still going to gain weight.
Yes, I've stipulated that I was wrong and that I misunderstood the process.
Can you tell Geoff what happened to your car? Because I haven't told him.
It's just that it got into an accident and I got a new car. Nothing big.
What kind of accident?
A deer jumped in front of me.
Oh man.
But everybody was okay. It came out of nowhere in the dark of night. And then I got a new car. There's no real story there. The best story is that I took the cigarette lighter out of my old car to put in my new car, and it works.
And it works?
Yeah, it goes in the Volt port.
So when you got a new car, okay.
So I was excited about it.
Tim, can you tell them about the features of your new car and how it might be better than your old car?
Well, yes. It has Bluetooth.
Heated seats, heated steering.
No, it doesn't have that. And I don't need those things. It has maybe in my next car. It has
12 years.
It has Bluetooth, which
Ooh.
I figured out how to synchronize my phone to. It has
That blows up the car.
Well, I have a surge protector now that the people gave me, if you remember.
Did you
my
talk to the people about this?
No, but remember they gave it to me on the last award show. They mailed me.
Yes, I know, but did you talk to the car salesman about
No, I did not. I decided to keep that under my hat. I have a backup camera, which I've never had or used before. It's awesome, and I love.
But see, like a month,
got a
you would have
two-tone
called
interior.
anyone who needs that like a millennial who can't stare out their back.
It's now in a fantastic piece of equipment, and I'm delighted to have it. I have a two-tone interior, which is both black and champagne inside, which is quite nice. And the car itself is champagne colored, which I really love.
Mm-hmm.
It has this button on my steering wheel where you can take incoming telephone calls and outgoing telephone calls, which is like really awesome. I've never seen before.
Okay.
And a button on my steering wheel that turns the volume somehow of my stereo up and down, which I've never had before. It's like got all these doodads and gizmos that it's like, it's awesome. I love this car. I loved my old car. I wish I still had my old car. I wish that deer had not run in front of me. But out of dark clouds, there were silver linings. And I have all these newfangled gizmos on this car, which I absolutely adore.
I like
I
the
love you. This is why you're like the best, because these are you
They're
I
new to
love
me.
you.
I've
I love
never
you.
had
You're
them.
amazing.
I've never experienced them. So
But do you not see this as like a microcosm of 99% of times things that you like come on here and fight or fight with your buddies in the group chat or in your, in person in your conversations, once you adopt them, you like 99% of the time you agree that it is clearly like more efficient or better, more enjoyable, or as I said, just simply like better. But you fight so hard with everything.
I mean, yes, that's true.
You would have mocked the need. Who the hell would need these lazy millennials? They need a camera. They can't change their volume without turning a knob on the console. Like you would have, like you do, right?
I probably would have, and I will concede that. But these little gizmos are so awesome that I love them, and it makes me feel like such a modern contemporary person chugging along in my car and like pushing a button on the steering wheel to talk to somebody. I feel like George Jetson on his way to Spacely Sprockets. Like it's so like modern.
And this is all with the base level features a car can have since 2010, basically.
Perhaps, but again, I don't know. I didn't have these things. I didn't know these things. But now I do, and I'm like super stoked. And so
your
all these,
innocence is so heartwarming.
so whatever new things that are going to be in the 2022 cars in 10 years' time, I'll discover those now.
You mean like in my car?
Yeah, I mean, your car seemed to have many of the same features mine had. I'm sure it has a bunch of other ones that I didn't realize.
Oh, Pat's car has the base model features?
No, but I'm sure it had other features that just I didn't see them at play, so I didn't know that they were there.
Well,
It's similar one. It had a backup camera as well.
that
It had this neat thing where the the trunk door closes by just pushing a button at the top, which I'd never seen before. That's really cool. Well, it did, and it also had this little button underneath to open it. You like pushed rather than like having to push the trunk open button that it like opened on its own. Like
I've said
really
this before. You're literally Encino Man.
Well, no, I'd never been around somebody with a car that new that had like those like 2020.
Yes, you have.
Or I did. If I have, I didn't remember seeing that.
Because people aren't showing off features from 12 years ago.
Well, anyway, I'm just telling you what I experienced.
Like the only thing that because my wife and I got a new car. We got a new Volkswagen Atlas because we need something big for the kids. The only thing that it has like new that I was like, oh, this is great. That instead of like, Jeff, when you turn on the heat warming button for your seat, that it has like the heat cooling button for your seat. So it has like air conditioning in the seat.
That is smart.
That was a good feature, wasn't it, Tim?
Great feature.
I think that is a good feature. I have no objection to that feature. I think the idea of a steering wheel that warms itself in the winter is a great idea. So not so much for when you're parked in the garage and you leave.
Why do you need that? Like you are not going to not have the need for your
But if he had to park,
leather driving gloves, your old trusties, right?
There's a reason that people used to wear driving gloves. Like that, there was a practical reason. It wasn't just because they looked cool. But like if he's parked at the office and the car's outdoors and it's cold, when you get in, obviously by pushing that button, the ice cold steering wheel becomes warm. Again, that's a practical function. That's not there to be a peacock. Like, look at me with my peanut dipped waffle cone to eat my artisanal ice cream. That it's just ice cream is just a thing to fill the cone with because that's what I love. Because I'm so cool. Like it's not that. So I can have that with my demi tass of cappuccino so people can see me out on the balcony.
I've never eaten an ice cream waffle cone and thought I looked cool before.
Oh, it's all status symbol.
The people are out on the streets showing off their luxurious lives with their waffle cone ice creams.
I think it's a bit of a peacock move, if you want to be honest. If I want to be completely honest, look at me. I'm the cock of the walk, walking around with my waffle cone and the dip top of it, and how fancy I am. While you commoners are eating from McDonald's or Dairy Queen in your cones, and I guess that's as good as you can do, even though they're superior.
Well, the other thing, Jeff, about Tim's car. So his old car he bought for like super cheap from this guy who had died. And in the back seat of the car was the old man's cane and all of these hats that he had. And then Tim kept all the hats, and then he kept wearing the hats, and now all those hats are in the back of his new car somehow.
Yeah, I moved all my little doodads and my hats and my mementos and my little talisman over to the new car. Sure. Yeah, why not? They're mine. I own them. Like, I don't have one of those like little hula dancers to put on the dash, but I would definitely put one of those things on my dash if I had one.
Why do you still have the old man's cane?
Whatever, it's mine now.
What about a Jets bumper sticker?
No, I'm not a bumper sticker guy. Never was. But like the little stuffed animals that I have, I put those back in the car. That's who I am. I like to have all kinds of I like to make it my own when I'm inside the car. I don't want it to be a completely sterile environment. Animals. Yeah, like little stuffed animals, like little toys or whatever, like and my hats and everything and my tokens and my change. And anyway, I like that stuff. I'm sorry. I like to individualize my space.
Where do you put the animals?
Like in those the handholds on the top by the ceiling of the car. Like, you know what I'm talking about. Like that you'd hold on to if somebody was driving too fast and you get terrified. Like I slide them through there. Or sometimes they like sit in the back window. I got that habit from my old man who switches every season a new little character in his car, depending on if it's spring, he has this like sunflower that he puts up there. And then on the summer solstice, he puts this big picture of a sun. During the fall, there's a pumpkin. During the winter, there's a snowman. Like some of this is learned behavior and I concede that. But you know what? It's sort of like charming and nice. Again, there's nothing wrong with going around life and seeing little things that cheer you up and make you happy.
I'm not opposed to that. It's just kind of crazy. Do you ever burn any of these stuffed animals when you use the ashtrays in your car for your cigarettes?
No, I do not.
I still can't believe you use the ashtrays in your car.
That's what they're there for. They're ashtrays.
No, I understand what they're there for.
I'm
I've
sorry,
just never known anyone who uses the ashtrays in their car beyond 1987.
Okay.
I've never known anyone. I've seen these people on the road who have stuffed animals in the back window.
Sometimes I give them names.
What are their names?
I don't want to go through it all.
What,
But I have a little.
you
I have a little pig right now who I named Pinky.
say that again?
I have a little pig right now in one of my windows that I call Pinky.
That's pretty creative.
I was going to call him Mr. Pig, but then I decided to call him Pinky.
What are some of the other ones?
I had at one point a little tiny bat that I called Hazel, like witch hazel, witch, bat, hazel, witch hazel. Anyway.
Any more?
I had a pumpkin at one point. I think I called him Jack because he's like a jack-o'-lantern. Thought that was pretty clever. Yeah, they're usually just pretty off the cuff names.
I see that.
Again, a lot of people do this.
When you say a
My
lot,
5-year-old, names like her piggy, like Piggy. What do you mean?
Like a lot of people have like individualized things in their cars to make them like, you smile when you see it. Brings a little ray of light maybe into your day.
So, Geoff, back to what you were saying before about how once Tim does something or has something, all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing in the world. Then he's like the biggest advocate of it. So since I've been back, I've been taking Tim to some like fancy restaurants, or at least much fancier than the places that he eats. And guess what? He loves them all.
They've all been really good, I have to say. I had this Cornish game hen the other night, and it was delicious. It was delicious. I never said that those restaurants weren't good, just that I was not inclined to go by myself and spend a bunch of money at a restaurant. But these places that we've been going, both for the food and the fellowship, have been great. And I haven't had a bad meal yet since we've gone to any of these restaurants that you recommended.
You weren't going to pull the Al table for one Borland?
No, I was not. I've done that before, but I don't need to do that. But I'd rather just go home.
But it wasn't like you had to go to these restaurants by yourself when I wasn't here. You could have just went with any of our other friends.
Well, I don't know that they were going. And if they were, they weren't inviting me, so I don't know.
Hey, you can make the plans sometimes, you know.
I'm not a plans guy for that kind of stuff, you know.
You'd be like, hey, I want to go try this restaurant. This looks pretty good. Do you want to come with me? And the answer is going to be, yes, sure.
I'd have to get myself out of the comfort zone and start myself up and organize it and whatever.
Is this just like this hockey team you've been trying to put together for 3 years that everyone keeps grilling you about?
Well, I'm going to do it.
Really? It sounds like you're doing it.
Well, again, I haven't gotten it done. But I'll get it done.
But wasn't the team supposed to happen 2 years ago?
Yes, it was. But then COVID hit and then I forgot. And then I was reminded and then I forgot. It is going to happen, or at least I'm going to attempt to organize it.
For when? Like,
why are you grilling me on this? Why are you against me?
I'm not against you, but you say you're like, oh, I can't make plans, but then you're trying to organize different things and you can't even get that off the ground.
Better get those permits in, buddy.
Yeah, you've really positioned yourself well for all these, like, you know, we go on a golf trip, everyone else organizes some aspect of it except for you. It's actually a pretty good way to get out of things.
Well, when I've tried to organize things in the past, I have been chastised and criticized for all my choices. So I'm like, well, okay, well then let other people make decisions so that the weight of the decision making doesn't fall upon my head.
Geoff, we went to March Madness one year. I think it was in 2010 or 2011. And we flew into Charlotte because day 1 and day 3 of the tournament were there. And then we drove down to Myrtle Beach afterwards to go play golf, but we were flying back out of Charlotte, so we had to drive back up and drop off our rent-a-car. And the only part of the trip that Tim actually had to put into practice, that we left on his shoulders, was to book the hotel the last night that we were there. So we could drive to the hotel from South Carolina back up to North Carolina, stay at the hotel, and be close enough that we could go drop off the car in the morning and then go catch our flight so it wouldn't be a hassle. We showed up to this fucking place. And, I mean, I didn't do heroin when I was there, but I may as well have, because I think that's what the rest of the rooms were being used for.
I've heard this story. I'm not
do
surprised.
one thing, which was to book a hotel near the airport, and I decided It's our last night. There's no need to be extravagant, so I thought I'd save us a few bucks.
He booked us for 4 people. I think the cost of the hotel room was $30.
I thought it was a steal. I thought I was being very shrewd.
It didn't set off any red flags.
Well, no, obviously, if it set off red flags, I wouldn't have booked it. But this was also 2010 or 2011, before like you could like go on like the website to check out what.
No, that is absolutely not true.
You were sort of just flying blind.
No.
When do you think you're talking about using YouTube in 2005, but hotels didn't have websites in 2011?
Well, they didn't have like very good ones, or it took a while to upload. I don't know. Anyway, I'm not saying I didn't do it. I'm just saying that I took responsibility, picked a place, was beat about the head and shoulders. And I was like, okay, well, then why should I choose to do anything when no matter what I decide, I will just be grilled for? Even if I go to a good place.
Hold on. No. Whoa. How do you know that? You didn't pick a good place. You picked a fucking meth lab.
See, this is why.
Can you please just so the people know? Can you give us an accurate representation of this place?
2 beds, a window next to a light with no curtains, an old television, one of those closets that's a mirror that slides, like the sliding door closet that's a mirror. Yeah, I mean, like it was very bare bones.
Would you say it was cleaned?
I can't remember. I'm sure it was. I wouldn't have said it was unsanitary.
I think the other 3 of us would say that.
Look, I don't know, but this is why people don't ask me to book trips anymore, because when I do, I get heat.
Yeah, but you put pride into everything else in the rest of your life, but you don't with this sort of stuff.
Well, I haven't had to book anything like this in a very long time.
Because you're untrustworthy.
See? Then how can I become trustworthy if no one gives me an opportunity?
Because you don't step up to the only thing that you stepped up to do was to organize this hockey team. And it's been 2 years and you haven't done anything.
I apologize for all my shortcomings.
No, if you want the responsibility and people to ask you to do some of these things, maybe you should try doing some of it.
You're right. I'm a loser. I'm sorry.
See, this is just you getting out of any responsibility again. So this entire I have just joined this golf weekend that we're going on at the end of the month, and all of a sudden that I'm doing now more of the organizing than you have, and you've been going on this trip for like 3 years.
I have never done any of the organizing of this trip. This is the baby of other people. I simply show up, pay my money, and play. And that's just the way it is. And honestly, that's the way I'd like it to stay. I don't want to have to get involved in the minutia of it.
So I guess my question is, are you throwing all this organizational stuff so you never get asked?
I run the Keeper League.
Sure.
So that's the thing I do that I take a lot of time to do. That's my thing. I run a Keeper League.
But you run it now because I gave it to you.
I was co-running it with you for the last several years, doing a lot of the work. You were doing some too, and I was doing a lot of the work. And now I'm going to do all the work, and that's fine. Like that's my contribution to organizing and doing things.
Do we have our keepers yet?
I said I wouldn't have them out till next weekend, and that's when I'll have them out.
Are you actually going to have them out, or are you just going to be like,
not
going to do it?
No, I will have them out next weekend.
All right. Paul has a topic, I think.
About a month ago, Tim came up to me and he's like, "Oh, I hear you have like your goaltending equipment and your hockey equipment. I would be interested in joining a team." So I'm getting the sense that maybe, just maybe, he was trying to pawn off this responsibility from the last 2 years that I didn't know about onto me to organize the team.
Oh,
I found out about it now.
On the abstract of this game, he knows he needs a couple goalies with equipment, so he's check marked that he's got one of those filled now.
That's it. I think the way Geoff put it is perfect. That's exactly what's going on here.
What was the first topic you put out there in your string of ones before Waffle Cone?
Oh, that I'm furious at the people at Pringles for ruining the Julius Pringles mascot.
I didn't realize his name was Julius, but yes, please tell us about this.
So, one of the coolest mascots in the food world is the Pringles guy, Julius Pringles.
Question. Is there any mascot for a fast food or food brand or unhealthy food brand that you don't think is cool?
I don't think the Burger King is very cool.
The Sneak King?
Yeah.
Is that because he scares you?
Like, The A&W bear is really cool.
Agreed.
You know what? Ronald McDonald is not cool. So I'll say he's not cool.
Is it because you're scared of clowns?
No. Grimace is cool, but Ronald is not.
Do you see a lot of yourself in Grimace?
Only when I wear all purple. Who else? I mean, there's not a lot of other places that have mascots, I guess. Like Wendy's doesn't have a mascot.
They have they have Wendy.
Well, but that's who the place is named after, Dave Thomas's daughter. So she's not really a mascot in that sense.
It's like a cartoon mascot.
I don't think if there's any other places with good mascots. I mean, like the Toucan Sam from Fruit Loops is great. Tony the Tiger is really cool. I don't like that Trix rabbit, so I suppose he's not cool. Anyway, my point being, Mr. Pringles is a very iconic, cool-looking character. And while he's been like touched up and changed over the years, this is by far the most radical change to his appearance ever. And it's incredibly minimalistic. And it almost is like he doesn't look like a human anymore. It's like just a circle, like an oval with 2 dots and the handlebar mustache. And it's awful. Like, I don't understand why these companies, be it Planters, who had one of the biggest flops in advertising the last several years, or now Pringles, would monkey and change around with the most iconic thing that they have in their brand, which is that a logo that everybody knows, mascot everybody knows and can recognize pretty much around the world. Like, are they so desperate for clicks and so desperate to, like, is somebody like, this is how they're going to get to be president of the corporation, is by coming with this great idea that we should revolutionize the one great thing we have. And it's just awful, and I don't understand it. And it's another example of change for change's sake, and it's dumb.
Well, I think they saw the success of Mr. Peanut. Although people didn't like it, the amount of tension Planters got was probably more than the past 50 years combined. So that actually worked out in their favor because people were talking about Planters Peanuts again. And this one, I mean, it just seems like you're anti-bald because all they did to the logo was just take away the hair.
Well, they made it look incredibly minimalistic.
So,
like, incredibly modern, and like it doesn't look like.
What is modern about it? It looks like he took a bic to his head, and that's the end of it.
No, like, he doesn't look like the cool sort of like barbershop vaudeville singer that he was before. Like, he's lost all his personality, and I don't like that. And I don't think
or panache. What would be the proper?
His panache, yeah.
Panache, yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Peanut though had top panache.
He had a lot of class too.
No, he did. He had a ton of class with
like
the monocle and top hat.
Like that time he went to the opera and snapped in half.
No, he just kept sliding out of the seat because he can't hinge at the waist. Yes. But anyway, I don't like it when corporations take a hammer to the best icons they have. Even corporations I don't like Pepsi, who made their logo ugly and unrecognizable a few years ago. I don't know why people do this stuff. I don't understand it. I don't think it works. It upsets the fans. It upsets the regular, the common consumer, and I don't know who it pleases.
Here's a question for you, Geoff. Does anyone really love Pringles, or are Pringles just a thing that people have sometimes because it's convenient?
Yeah, I would probably agree with that. I don't like them that much, but once in a while I get a Jones for them, and then I'll like probably have half a box, and then I'm like, I don't know why.
They're like the official snack of hotel rooms. How many times have you gone on a road trip with friends and
I've got them on like the Via Rail, like the small thing.
Somebody brings Pringles, and just about every hotel room, if you go on a trip with friends, somebody has a can of Pringles.
What are you talking?
Because it's a very easy snack to purchase and a snack to transport. Pringles are like the unofficial snacks of road trips. You always see Pringles.
I will say at like summer camp, those were pretty popular because I guess the case was sturdy and
that's basically the entire reason to buy Pringles. Like, if you are, like, let's say in a car, because I can see that you can have some Pringles on a road trip, although we just did a road trip, Tim, and there was no Pringles in sight.
There were not.
But there was a bag of Doritos, because Doritos are just way better.
I think that's right. I mean,
Of course it's right. Pringles just aren't really that good is the problem.
I'm actually a Lay's Stacks man myself, not a Pringles guy,
It's
really.
it's 100% the casing that you can put the top back on it, and you don't have to worry about bringing a clip to put your chips back on.
Yeah,
So
that's it. You very rarely get a broken Pringle, and that they're easy to transport. Plus, then you can use the can later on for your change or whatever if you want.
oh my god.
What the?
Like my grandmother used to use a Pringles can for her change for a long time.
Wow.
Anyway, my point being, Pringles are an iconic brand. Everybody knows what a Pringle is, just about. And I don't know. I've never met anybody who didn't like Pringles. They may not say I don't love them; they're not my favorite thing. But I've yet to encounter a person who goes, "Oh yeah, Pringles, I hate those." And why would they mess around and screw around with their mascot, their most iconic character? Makes no sense to me. I don't see what the gain is. From that cost benefit analysis, I don't know what the benefit is. There's only drawbacks.
Do you think that most people look at the Pringles can with the new logo and be like, wow, they changed that? Or are most people just completely indifferent to it? Because I would say, I would say,
they changed the guy. That's dumb.
I would wager most people wouldn't even notice because it doesn't look massively dissimilar. He just doesn't have hair.
Oh, I think it looks very, very different. I know
that's because you hate bald people.
No, that's not true at all. I just don't like when they change the character for no reason. It doesn't make sense. Why do corporations do this? Why do they damage their most iconic thing just for the sake of freshening things up when no one's calling for it? No one's clamoring for it. It's dumb. I don't understand it. It should stop.
But if it was up to you, nothing would ever change.
No, not true. I believe in change when change is good, but change for change's sake, I don't like.
Maybe they wanted to be inclusive.
No. They did it because they thought it would look cool.
I'm not going to lie to you. I think it looks better. It looks cleaner.
No, it doesn't.
Listen, companies, they gotta digitally like just sharpen the edges of logos. Like everyone is kind of doing it, I guess. Yeah. You said it off the top. It's 2022, and they gave the guy a facelift. What are you so like angry about? This guy wants to tell you he's less insane than I am when you're asked to vote on something.
That's true,
and I am.
Well, that's not what the results said, Tim.
It's getting closer every year, Jeff.
Well, we've only done it once.
Yeah, we'll see what the vote is next year. I want to bet that it's not closer. I bet it's closer.
I bet you it's not.
Oh, I bet it is.
Because I don't think we're going to see a more insane Geoff than we saw in 2020. His return to normalcy has begun. You're just getting more wild by the second.
Exactly. And I look forward to breaking that all down as we get closer to the games. Because you're the absolute crazy one. People will see me sort of find my own even keel in my own bubble. You're out like... What you're doing to Trevor Lawrence is goddamn insanity. Like you're sick, bro. You're sick.
I don't feel anything about it. He's not good. Sorry.
So, Geoff, Tim Too Rich had a party on the lake with his boats and everything like that in his boathouse. And I did find that his dad actually in their boathouse, he had a Miami Dolphins like what do they call it? Like a donut? There it is.
Lifesaver or just pool toy.
Yeah, there it is. So
floaty.
I mean, that's probably. I asked Tim's dad. I was like, "That's secretly Tim's." He was like, "Oh yeah, 100% secret Dolphins fan."
Oh yeah,
sure.
oh yeah.
That's why he's using the curse against them.
No, my dad's been a Dolphins fan since he was a little boy in the 70s, and the reason was because they were in the South, like in the warm, sunny part of Florida, and he liked the colors, and that's why he became a Dolphins fan. He's been one. He's a diehard Dolphins fan, and I hate that team. And anyway, yes, there's Dolphins stuff all over our house, and I hate it.
Anyway, so there's two things from this that we discovered. One, apparently Tim said that he could take off in an airplane.
My position was, my brother used to be a pilot, so I'm not completely talking out of my rear end.
Hold on. What does that have to do with anything?
I think taking off is not the difficult part of flying. It's landing safely. That's the difficult part of flying. That, I think, is what requires the most skill and ability that I wouldn't have a chance at doing.
But you wouldn't have a
Taking
chance.
off-
You also wouldn't have a chance to take off either.
I think taking off is a matter of getting your speed up and getting the throttle, pulling the throttle up, and then taking off. But landing it safely, I think that's what takes a ton more skill and a ton more talent. And I would not have that.
I would agree with you that landing a plane more difficult than taking off in a plane. I'm just saying you can't do either. It would be like embarrassing for you.
I don't know. I mean, listen.
What do you mean
I
you don't
could-
know? You've never sat in a cockpit before.
Not
and
true.
try-
I sat in the cockpit with my brother before he graduated. He took me up in one of their planes, and I got to sit right next to him in the cockpit and watch him do all the stuff, and actually gave me the controls of the plane for a minute or so.
Like when you were up in the sky already.
Oh, of course.
All right, so
Of course.
you have no idea how to take off in a plane.
I watched him. I watched him do it, and I found that he
You
was-
watch a lot of people do a lot of things. I watched some
And
porn. I was like, I'm going to try that one out. Nope, back can't handle it.
He's watched football and thinks he can run for a first down.
Well, I also played tackle football too. It's not just I just didn't just watch it. I played it.
Center, right?
Yeah, I played center. That's right.
It's pretty
So, like,
ludicrous.
it's becoming like a staple part of the show now. It's like Al Bundy talking about his football career.
His tackle football career?
Well, yeah, he played in high school.
But he didn't play touch. He played tackle is what you're saying.
Yes, he did.
Why don't you just say fucking football? People think...
I want to make sure I distinguish it from flag football or something.
A lot of people think you're out playing flag football.
Well,
playing,
just in case,
you're playing center in flag football, are you?
well, there would be a center. Someone's got to hike the ball.
Mm-hmm. And that's going to be you?
Listen. I just saying it because that is what the sport is. I don't know why I get a hard time for these things.
Well, that just makes it sound like you've never played football before. If you say tackle football, that's like, oh, Michael Jordan had so many slam dunks today.
All right, well, whatever.
Also, Jeff, he said that he could swim to the across his lake and back. And then he said he had done it before. And then his dad disputed the story.
He didn't remember that had happened like 15 years ago. He didn't remember it.
It's like 2 kilometers.
No, it's like about a kilometer over and about a kilometer.
Yeah, it's 2 kilometers.
Yeah.
There's no way you're swimming that.
But I did in the wet net.
Not according to anyone besides you making it up.
No, he didn't remember it, but it happened.
It doesn't sound like
And-
it happened. It was also fucking 15 years ago. You think you're a better?
Yeah.
Do you think you're a better athlete today than you were then?
No, I do not.
You think the 15 years of a pack a day is going to help you swim?
Probably not. But I think it can be done.
I think that we should film you doing this. And then Jeff, he's putting in things like, oh, I need like a floaty to go across. Like, that's not fucking
Well,
swimming.
I think if I use a flutter board, that's perfectly fine.
No, it's not perfectly fine. You want a fucking life jacket too? Either you can swim or you can't swim.
Well, but using a flutter board is a type of swimming. No, I am not.
Say
telling
it.
those stories.
Say it. Say it.
So, to cool down sometimes after gentle aquafit, the old ladies would swim next to each other on the flutter boards back and forth. I joined them a couple of times, like chat, like do laps of the pool, like with the markers, I guess, like with the flutter boards back and forth. And I cooled down with the flutter board laps too sometimes.
So you can't even do a half lap in a pool, but you're going to
Oh, I
swim
can.
in a lake a kilometer over and a kilometer back, and no problem.
I didn't say no problem, but I could do it. I mean, I'm not a bad swimmer, actually. I'm an okay swimmer. I'm not like an amateur. I wouldn't be at the Olympics, but I can swim.
I'm just throwing it out there. I don't think you can swim 2 kilometers. And I bet you when everyone saw the distance, they also said exactly the same thing. Am I correct?
No, they snickered at me like everybody does.
Then why don't you do it? Let us film you doing it. See how good you are.
Maybe sometime.
We have to get professionals on boats next to you, so when you start drowning, that they can pull you up, because we don't want you to get
Well, I was telling
hurt.
our friend Tim that if I got tired, I could just tread water. He said that would actually make you more tired.
Yeah, how would you think that's a good idea?
I
If
don't
you
know,
got if you got tired, you would start treading water in the middle of a lake, and that's going to be like, I'll conserve energy by treading water.
Well, this is what I was going with.
Did that make any sense once you said it out loud?
Once it was explained to me how little sense it made, I realized that it didn't.
I don't want you to drown, but I do want to see you attempt this. So I'm in a really tough
Just
spot.
swimming. It's one arm in front of the other,
No,
and I
you
can switch to
gotta
the
like
back.
someone's. Yeah, you just gotta. You don't even need a rescue cure. You just a couple of your buddies got to just be in a boat beside with like a couple floaties to toss to him if he wants to bail.
Yeah, but we're going to be too busy laughing the entire time. We need like a real professional out there to make sure that he's safe. Okay, he also admitted, I said, if you went and ran 2 kilometers right now, could you run 2 kilometers straight? And he said, no, but he can swim 2 kilometers apparently.
Tim, what's the matter?
What do you mean, what's the matter?
Like, why your inability to correlate these things?
I don't think I think
The buoyancy of the water, right, will get you there.
no, I just think I could do it. I think I could do it. I did it once many years ago, and I remember it, and I was like, I think I could probably do it again. I don't know. I guess sometimes I don't lack for self-confidence.
I would tend to agree with that, actually. Do you have do you have anything else, Geoff? Do you have any topic that you want to hit on before we get out of here?
No, I'm good. I had a good laugh attack. I can't compete with anything there. I'm thrilled.
Do you have any final topics, Tim?
I mean, like I mentioned briefly, so I'll just ask, because we chatted about this too a little bit. Why did picture-in-picture never really take off for people's televisions at home? Even if people have the function, no one ever uses it. Why? It seems like a really smart idea.
Yeah.
Why is picture-in-picture was like in the early 90s, like this great modern like step forward in television viewing, and it sort of fizzled out, and it's never come back. And it seems to me it was a brilliant idea then, and it would still be useful now in all kinds of circumstances.
I'm not entirely sure why, because I would be pro picture-in-picture. I guess maybe it just depends on like the services you have, because like when I watch football and I do want to have picture-in-picture, I just open up games in different tabs and have them on my screen. Like, and I'll just project them onto my screen. Then I don't need picture-in-picture, but it would be handy if I was trying to like watch a game, especially with bigger TVs now too, where you could feasibly have a 75-inch screen and have like a little picture-in-picture in the bottom that takes up even like 20% of the screen. It's still like,
yeah, like imagine this fall during Football Sunday having the Ryder Cup at NBC in the little box and the football game on the TV.
But there's like 9 football games at once is the problem.
Okay, but whatever. Like I think it's actually the same weekend that London game is on. So like you could like have the London game on the little screen and the Ryder Cup on the big one, or vice versa. Like, I just off the top of my head, you could think of all kinds of functional ways that this would work.
I don't know, Geoff, is it because like if I wanted to watch 2 things at once, I'd watch one on my TV and just have another one streaming on my computer at the same time? It's just easier that way?
I mean, now I understand why it like isn't getting the love, but I do agree with Tim that way before like we should have been ready to abandon it, it clearly was forgotten. I remember my uncle would have like a Leaf game and a J game. Like yeah, you could do lots of things. I guess you could watch your favorite team while watching that primetime football game. I don't really know. Or you could still listen and watch Jeopardy and keep an eye on a game. Like, yeah, I don't know why everything Tim said was right. It sort of came onto the scene as like, whoa, this is really cool. Like people liked using it. And way before we did have second screen options, it was sort of this forgotten entity and never really even improved upon.
It does strike me as strange because I'm with you. I enjoyed picture-in-picture, and I still think that I would. I think it's become so easy to access multiple screens that people are just like, screw it, I'll just have an alternate screen for it. I can watch something on my phone. I can watch something on my iPad. I can watch something on a computer at the same time. I have 3 TVs right next to each other. I'll just put 3 separate things on the 3 separate TVs. I think there's enough of that people got out of picture-in-picture.
I get it. I totally get it. But I'm just, one of the times I was thinking like, the NFL used to not play a game during the World Series, and now they do. Like, I'd love to have the World Series game on one TV or the TV, and the football game on the TV, and not have to have a device on my lap or in my hands. Just be able to watch my television. If you've got a 75-incher, that's what you want. I think that's what you want.
Well, that's why I got you that stand for your phone and your iPad. So
it's incredibly convenient. But I get the point about having other electronics that show it, and maybe that does explain it. But it seems like there's still room in this world for a little old picture-in-picture.
Well, there is a picture-in-picture extension that you can get for Google Chrome if you're watching a video and want to watch another video at the same time. Like that's technology that exists. I don't know how many people use it. I don't, but that is a feature of Google Chrome.
Fair enough. I will take your word on that, not knowing quite how the Google Chrome works.
What do you mean, you not quite knowing how the Google Chrome works?
Well, like the Chrome casting and stuff. I don't know how that works. I've never used it. I don't know. I know it's a search, a web browser, but that's all I know.
But you just use Internet Explorer, don't you? You probably use Netscape.
No, I'm a Safari guy.
Okay. Safari. All right. Like just because that was installed when you opened up your computer?
Yes, that is the reason. That's what I do.
He's still asking Jeeves.
No, that's not true.
Yeah.
Siri is his best friend.
Yeah, it's like that movie, Her.
That's Siri to you?
I've fallen in love with Siri, yes. Like Joaquin Phoenix, except not a complete weirdo like he is in everything he's in.
I mean, you're pretty Joaquin Phoenix-y. Like, people might think that... Remember when he did that, when he, like, quit acting, and then he was the musician, then he was on Letterman, but it was all just an act? A lot of people think that's what you do.
Like I'm an Andy Kaufman impersonator?
Yeah, essentially.
I don't have that kind of skill. I take that as a compliment from people who think I have that kind of talent. I don't.
Last thing, I want to hit you with this because I've seen a lot of this sort of stuff, and I get it because people, hate billionaires, and this is going to be like a cover up for billionaires. But I'm pro billionaires in space. I'm pro space program in general. I think exploration is important. I think it's important to people. I think it shows the range of what humans can do in getting to outer space. Now, the motivations might not be the best way, but it's not like NASA is pumping a bunch of money into space exploration anymore. If these idiots want to do it and go up to space and spend their money on it, I am completely for it. I think it's a good thing.
I am in lockstep agreement. It's great. The last space program discovered all kinds of various inventions that were applicable on Earth that we wouldn't have thought to work through had we not gone to space. Human existence has always been about testing the limits of our lives, the bravest people, and being rewarded handsomely for it. If everybody in the 1400s was timid, Columbus would never have sailed across the seas, and there would have been no new world encountered. Like, people would have said, people are saying the same thing about space. Why bother go to space? Well, because there's all kinds of things that might be learned or gleaned, and it's not being funded by taxpayer dollars. It's being funded by billionaires who want to use their largesse to
show off,
explore the world and the universe, and there could be all kinds of things they could discover. And I think it shows human ingenuity. It's things to be interested in. It's not just a waste of money. It's advancement in a really inspiring way. And I say, God bless them.
You both kind of said it perfectly. If this is what they want to do, this is how they want to spend. Who do people think, to Tim's point of Columbus, was, creating those missions? It was probably the richest, most extravagant people of the time.
He had to go cap in hand to King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella.
Those missions were funded by the extravagant richest
of kings and queens of Europe.
So that, if having all those billions sort of makes you go for it, man. Like Tim said, it's not public money.
You remember the Heritage Minute where John Cabot comes back with all the fish and he's in the King of England's chamber? Like, it was the King of England who paid for John Cabot to sail across the world to find the Grand Banks. Like, that has always been a part of human existence. I mean, NASA was created through huge investments by the richest country in the world. Like, that's the way things go, and there's nothing nefarious about it.
I mean, there could be. I mean, this is also how James Bond supervillains start at the same time.
But there are people, and I mean, this is far from an original point of mine, but there are people who don't like seeing this because they think they could spend the billionaires' money better. They wish they could spend it differently.
I mean, I get that part of it too. People are always wanting to spend other people's money in a way. And I'm not super pro billionaire over here. But if this is how they choose to spend their money, I actually think it helps out the collective good in the long run.
Sure. And it's not like this is the only way they spend their money either.
Sure.
Right? Like,
they have way more money than this.
It's not like Jeff Bezos spent his entire life savings on a trip to space. He spends his money on all kinds of philanthropic enterprises. I say it's good. I say it's exciting. It shows after 18 months of sort of glum dimness, this brought a little point of light into all of our lives if we have eyes to see it.
Is it that people aren't like there's no majesty to space travel anymore like there was in the 60s? Because I am like thoroughly like wondered by space travel. Maybe it's just something that I have an interest in, but it feels like I felt like it should have been a bigger deal. All anyone could really talk about was that, you know, it's Jeff Bezos. He's an asshole. No one likes him. So, I mean, there's that part of why people hate it to begin with. And then, you know, he doesn't pay taxes and people don't like that, which I also get. Then his ship was shaped like a penis. So that didn't help either.
So my point would be that I think this is another example of what you, to tie to the earlier part of the show about Twitter not being popular or reflective. I think if you ask the average man and woman on the street, 90% of people support and like the idea of billionaires going to space. 10%, who are the loud contingent, are angry and dismissive and sarcastic and jealous and envious about it. But most people either think, whatever, or this is really cool. I actually think the cynicism of a very loud minority is what's driving that type of conversation rather than being reflective of what people think.
It just didn't seem like it was covered all that much, to tell you the truth.
It was covered a lot the day of. The day of, like, that was the biggest news story going on. But then, like, it went away.
I was at Cape Canaveral one time, or maybe it was Cape Kennedy at the time, but I saw a rocket go into space. It was fucking awesome when I was a kid.
That would be awesome. I went to a space camp in Prince Edward Island once and ate freeze-dried ice cream, and it was really cool.
I feel like that's two separate things.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is my closest connection. I mean, I can go to Houston or to Cape Canaveral or Cape Kennedy. So this is what I saw. When I was young,
did you eat the freeze-dried ice cream out of a waffle cone?
No, it came in a little plastic bag.
Were you there training for your free fall from space?
No, I wasn't. I was like 7 or 8 or 6 or whatever. And like, it was just a little place they had set up during our vacation. Like
it does seem like most of the attention, though, to sort of Pat's point, is not so much on what is being accomplished or what they're trying to accomplish, and more so about this, like, which billionaire is doing it like this, like, battle of billionaires, as opposed to it being this like hyper positive thing.
Yeah, it was like when Elon Musk had that thing, the shuttle that was going to land on Mars, and then it didn't land properly, and it was just like, what a moron, Elon Musk. Like, that's pretty awesome. They almost got something to land on Mars and drive around.
Well, you got to remember that sour grapes is the fuel that drives 90% of Twitter.
I guess so. I mean, this has turned into like the Bootlicker podcast all of a sudden, but either way, I think it's great. I just wanted to say that.
Now, listen, if I didn't agree with it, I would say I didn't, but I do, and so I support it. I think it's smart.
If you like love a sports team, or even just you're a fan of sports, you've always thought you could spend someone else's money better.
Oh, that's
right?
true.
Like, we're always like, nope, I would do it differently. I wouldn't hire that guy. I wouldn't pay that guy. Yeah, so you're always in it. Like, we're always trying to spend other people's money.
I agree. All right. I think that's it, unless anyone has a very quick topic they want to hit on.
Nope. I think that's good, folks.
Jeff, can I make a confession to you?
Okay.
You know how I always rag on you guys for liking the shittiest shows possible? Elementary is on Amazon Prime now, and my wife and I are like, that's what we're watching in bed before we go to sleep.
Johnny Lee Miller and Lucy Liu, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I me and my wife took that one and we enjoyed it. Yeah. I like Johnny Lee Miller. He's a weird cat, but yeah. I like him.
Like, we watched the British Sherlock with Benedict Cumberbatch like ages ago.
Yeah, that was real. But that's
that's really good. Like, that's
that's
good.
Like
But this is it's the empty calories TV that I need before I go to bed. I'm now at that age where like the CBS demographic is shifting towards me.
Me and my wife are watching that show Startup right now.
What is this?
I don't know. It just came on Netflix. I don't know. It's
a little great. After being mocked for so many years about my enjoyment of network TV, you're just falling into my clutches.
Yeah, because I'm getting old. You were old at age 20.
That's fine. It's just you're moving closer and closer to my positions on things, and I like that.
All I'm saying is that I wanted to admit that I've been watching Elementary. I don't mind it. It's all right.
I'm glad to hear it.
Okay. That will do it on CUST Corner.
CUST Corner, it's CUST Corner. CUST Corner, it's CUST Corner. He's got the hottest takes with the highest stakes. He should be president of the United States, but it's CUST Corner, it's CUST Corner, CUST Corner.
Which I have to declare a victory in.
What did you end up with as a part of the vote?
According to the most recent poll, or most recent results, it is 81 to 19. 15 was my number. Therefore, I declare victory, and I accept that victory with graciousness.
There's 22 hours left.
Yeah, there's 22 hours left in this poll, by the way.
Yeah, but you know, it's already got well over 1,000 votes, and I've got 20% of the vote, so that's two.
You don't have 20% of the vote. You have 19% of the vote for one thing.
But it's still about 200 people who have voted for my side.
So for every 4 people that vote against you, 1 votes for you. Yet you're declaring victory.
I think it's a resounding victory.
When people say you and Donald Trump are essentially the same person, this is what they're talking about.
I won. Sorry, I'm a winner.
Okay. Good luck. We'll see how big of a winner you are when we don't give you a life jacket and you have to swim across this lake. It'll be like that time you did chin-ups.
Yeah, well, whatever. Those machines are great.
Yeah, it's not like it's not like when you skydive and you get to be like tethered to someone coming down. It's not like you get tethered to the back of a dolphin and they get to swim it for you and you get to claim you did it.
Whatever.
All right, that will do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. CUST Corner 34. Remember to subscribe to the exclusive CUST Corner feed and check out the entire series. We'll hope to get another one of these done before the start of football season, although I guess if you're watching this like 3 years after the fact, that doesn't really matter to you in the first place. But people who are watching it live in real time, following along with everything, they'll enjoy that. Smash the like button on the way out. Follow Geoff on Twitter at GFienberg17. Follow Tim on Twitter at Tim Andercust!
Tim Andercust.
That's not my name.
But that is where they can follow you on Twitter, where you release these polls, where you're losing yet claim victory, which is what crazy people do. Anyway, I'm Pat Mayo. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!